Let's talk about brand archetypes. So, archetypes are those things which are like the underlying program codes or whatever of your consciousness. So, whenever you are being somebody, you like you seem to be, employing that kind of an archetype. So, archetype is like the converse of stereotype. Stereotype is something that it keeps repeating but from the outside. It's just the external, the stereo, like whatever. But archetype comes from the foundation. Okay, like archetype is where it is generated from. So in marketing, you have something called brand archetypes. Brand archetypes are like what kind of a brand are you being exuding towards a customer. So let's take the brand of that I'm going to build now, which is based on what my personality is going to be, because the business is a reflection of who I am being, right? So there are people who have said that businesses, like the business you're going to start, it is going to look like it's like bringing your own brainchild, your own baby. So it's going to have the same genetics. So let's just consider that the personality that you have is also genetic. So the brand archetypes that I have chosen are there's four of them. I've chosen four of them because I want to like give them like a spectrum, and it's going to be primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. And quaternary is a word, I looked it up. So primary is basically the creator archetype. The creator archetype is something like like being the Apple computers. Like that's the kind of marketing you're going for. You're like catering to the people who are also creators, like just like me. Like I am somebody who's creating a lot of art and stuff. The secondary archetype would be something that is giving, a complementary to this to the first primary archetype. And the kind of art that I'm creating is a bit like goes to the spiritual physics side. So I mean, the quantum spiritualism, that kind of like, it's almost sounds pseudoscientific, but just go with me. And that's why the brand archetype that I've chosen is the Sage archetype. The Sage archetype is all about understanding the world. So a brand for that would be the BBC, news, service. So they are all like the way they have their fonts, the sounds, and the way they function. It all has a very authoritatively understanding the world and having a knowledge of the world type of archetype. And I would consider that that's the kind of thing I would like to exude, because the way that I speak and the way that I talk about it exudes the Sage archetype. And the third and the fourth one, like which would further give it more depth to my brand, would be the Outlaw archetype and the Jester archetype. I would prefer more being in the Jester archetype, because Jester archetype is all about connection and belonging. So a Jester archetype is about making people laugh, so unintentionally or otherwise. So it breaks the tight mood of the customer. And the best example for this is the Old Spice, the new guy, the new all this crazy Terry Crews ads, and Dollar Shave Club. The first ad by Dollar Shave Club, fantastic, phenomenally done. He talks about how how intelligent and self-aware they are about their brand. And furthermore, the final quaternary archetype would be the Outlaw archetype. The Outlaw archetype is all about liberation from the world, and leaving a legacy. Okay, when I say liberation from the world, I mean like liberation from the status quo. So the Outlaw archetype is about freedom, and all of these put together, it gives the brand like a certain kind of direction. Like when you are like making brand decisions, you think about, does that font really reflect the outlaw side of me, which I want to reflect onto the world? Maybe not. So you pick up, you delete that Comic Sans stuff, and come up with a better brand idea. So this will help you to connect with the audience. The audience, or in this case, the customers. So in a lot of ways, the kind of business that you want to run in a content marketing sphere is going to look like you're putting up a performance. And that's why the audience, the customer, those lines begin to blur. And there's this interesting book called Future Proof, where it talks about how like the future AI stuff, that AI is coming, robots taking over job. So you don't compete against the robot. You don't say like, hey robot, I'm going to be more efficient than you. No, it's about you see like what you are like good at. Like the real magic was in you all along. So it's about focusing on the artistic and the artisanal practicing, whatever, those kind of skills in your repertoire, and you reflecting on that, and let the machine do what the machine has to do, and you can like focus on do the artsy stuff, like uh, that's how things would go forward. Like a very dumb example, like take like a fan, like in the previous eras or whatever, like a luxury thing, there would be a guy who would be like employed just to like keep making doing the manual work of putting a lot of air, or you will have a hand fan. But now you don't have to do that anymore because the machine is doing it. It's not that you're gonna compete with the machine to like who is gonna put the most fan oscillations to create air and whatnot. So you don't have to compete with the machine. You focus on what makes you more human. So like once you outsource all the like boring stuff and things that are like cause human drudgery, you can focus on what makes you really human. And it's gonna be very interesting to see what comes up next. So thank you for watching so far. Bye bye.